right? Maybe it's large enough so we can all see all the parts. Otherwise, I have given you blow-ups of the upper part and the bottom part. Okay? Is that big enough, or do I need to use just the upper part and lower part?
Can you use just the upper and lower?
Okay, here you go. If you need to get any bigger, let me know. Okay. What's the first word on your list?
Occipital.
Okay. That's my occipital part of my head. So guess what these two are? Occipital lymph nodes. Now, keep in mind, for your lab practical, just write down occipital LN for lymph node. Because there may not be enough room to put the word lymph and node in that little space. Okay, so LN is fine. Just like capital R and capital L are left and right for the blood vessels. Okay, what's my next word? Auricular. Okay, your auricular is your ear. So these behind the ear are the auricular lymph nodes. And keep in mind, all these yellow bulges, those are your nodes. Okay? That's what I'm always pointing at. What's next? Okay, cervical is your neck. Superficial means close to the surface. What's this muscle right here? Sternocleidomastoid. If it's on top of my sternocleidomastoid, it's much more superficial than all of these under my sternocleidomastoid, which would be the deep. Does that make sense? Close to the surface versus under. They're pretty simple. They're the ones that are right along your jugular vein. All right, what's next? Cubital, in your elbow, right there, in the crook of your elbow. What's next? Right here in your armpit. So if I point to any of these in your armpit, just call it an axillary lymph node, okay? There is not one that's called the axillary. They're all axillary lymph nodes. But this is what gets taken out to keep any breast tissue cancer from spreading. You have a radical mistake. What else?
Lymphatic duct.
Okay, the right lymphatic duct. Now there's two ducts. One is on this side called the right lymphatic duct, and one is on this side called the thoracic. Don't call it the left duct. So here we go. You ready? Watch. Do you see this white hoop right here, this hook right here? That is your right lymphatic duct. It empties the lymph from your right arm and the right side of your face and puts it into your superior vena cava. Because remember, its job is to bring back fluid that was lost in the tissues. If that's my right lymphatic duct, remember duct is the last of the sizes, the biggest. You see this white going up and making a candy cane looking hook here? That's your thoracic duct. It goes all the way from down here up. So I can put my arrow here, or here, or here, and all three of those are still the same thing, the thoracic duct. Okay? And remember, the thoracic duct is much bigger because it empties everything from the left side of your body as well as both legs. Okay? As well as your intestines. Everything other than your right arm and right side of your head is brought into this thoracic duct. All right, what's next?
Tracheo. Bronchial.
Okay. Where my trachea, see my trachea? Splits into my two bronchi, left and right. These lymph nodes are the tracheobronchial lymph nodes in the center of the chest. This might be what you were referring to. You don't know. Those are the lymph nodes right in the center of your chest, right there. Okay? Cool? What else?
Hepatic.
Okay, that's down below in the liver. What I need you to do is, do you see the one that says jugular what? Trunk. The trunks are basically the white lines that connect the lymph nodes. See that? Jugular trunk. It's the white line that connects the jugular lymph nodes. Think about it. Or the deep cervicals. These smaller ones out here are just called vessels. But notice on your list is the jugular trunk. Do you see one called the subclavian trunk? Right there. See that white line right there connecting these guys? Right on your subclavian region. Same thing here. Right on the subclavian. Mr. Weber, which one is it? I don't know. In your book, it's one that's big and the rest are small. These all seem to be the same size. So, here's what yeah, it's a white line. Here's what I would say. If I'm pointing and I say, what is this white line? And I happen to be in your subclavian region, what are you going to call it?
Subclavian trunk.
If I'm pointing to a white line and I'm saying, and I'm pointing at it in my jugular region,
Jugular trunk.
exactly. So don't get bent out of shape. Is it this line or is it this line? It's one of them. But it's a bigger one that collects the lymph fluid. So, like I said, model makers didn't really distinguish that well. Are we cool?
There's submandibular.
Ah, yeah, while we're here, let's do that. What's your mandibular region?
Your mouth.
So underneath your chin, underneath your jaw. That's your submandible, submandibular lymph node. This one under your chinny chin chin would be your sub what? Mental. Okay, so the closer you are to your chin, the more it's a submental. The further back you are in your jawbone, the more it's submandibular. And then there's another one. Parotid. See, this right here is your parotid gland, one of the big salivary glands. So this one right above it would be the parotid lymph node. Does that make sense? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that covers all the guys that are north of here. The only other one, which is nice to see right here, what are these called in the middle? Tracheobronchial. So what do you think these guys that are only on your bronchioles called? Bronchial lymph nodes. So don't confuse the two. They're definitely on just the bronchioles. Okay? On the bronchioles. Cool? And I think all the rest of them are going to be on the other picture. All right. We'll do this one. That's a nice blow up. Okay, so what is this big white line coming down? It's still my thoracic duct, right? And look at the big bulge. That's my cistern. It's a cisterna chyli. A cistern is a large pocket for holding something. What's it holding? Chyle, hence the name chyli. Cistern full of chyli. Cistern full of chyle. Okay, so that's that. This is your liver here. So anything close to my liver would be hepatic lymph nodes, close to my liver. Anything on my stomach would be gastric lymph nodes. Anything on this red blood vessel would be my celiac lymph nodes, because that's my celiac trunk. The one that comes out and goes to my spleen and my pancreas and my stomach. So that's my celiac lymph nodes. And all of these here are on the blood vessels that are heading towards my intestines. And all of this connective tissue here is called mesenteries. So what do you think these lymph nodes might be?
Mesenteric.
Mesenteric lymph nodes, any of them. Okay? And of course, we have our aorta, our abdominal aorta coming down and then splitting. So when it splits right here, this first couple of inches is my common iliac. So these lymph nodes would be my
Common
iliac lymph nodes. And of course, out here would be my external iliac, you know, because the internal would be going inside here. But that's not on my list, is it? Which one is on my list? Inguinal. And your inguinal region is outside of your abdominal cavity, high up in the thigh region. So these are my inguinal lymph nodes. Okay? Were there any other? That's pretty much covers it, right? Cool beans. All right, let's go to the head. Let's go to the head picture.